What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gen. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can maximize your Hyperliquid Season 2 airdrop. And just as a sort of disclaimer, there has been no confirmation about Season 2. However, we know there's a bunch of hype token that has been set aside for rewards. So most people are expecting, much like we did last year, to have a significant airdrop drop to us sometime in the end of the year, likely end of November, early December. Now, that being said, as always, just remember, nothing I say is financial advice. Please do your own research. I'm just a guy on YouTube, and any idiot can turn on a camera. So, before we get into it, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Now, I have broken this down into two parts. When you're looking at farming Hyperliquid, there is the Hyper Core, or the main application. This was the only way to get some hype token last year. But with the expansion to HyperEVM and that chain, there's also a footprint you want to get through there. So I'm not going to go too much into Hyper Core, but I just want to sort of go over the basics again. And as always, I did make a video sort of covering this. I'm going to include this in the links down below. But what you really want to focus on is the tier 1 activities. Of the three that are here, staking hype token was not available in season 1 for obvious reasons, right? We didn't have the token yet. And you want to spread this across multiple validators. You see, I have picked 4 of them. Don't just sort of pick one, pick multiple. Make sure you're paying a commission fee as well. On top of that, what we look at when we sort of consider how we earned points, which was the old system for season 1, you had to have spot holdings, and what it cared about was not you just buying and selling it, but really like holding on to it by time weighted average balance. And you would earn points every single week in the application. And, you know, if you look at previous videos that I've made, I'll share some in the description below. You know, buying and holding onto certain spot tokens like PER was pretty good. And the weeks where you held onto them, you made a lot more points than if you were trading them. Still got some points, but not nearly as much. Also, you want to sort of do perpetual activity, right? So perpetual activity is their futures. You basically open longs or open shorts. Avoid wash trading. If you can make money, do it, but don't just sort of buy and sell to sort of farm volume. They know this, and you will be penalized. And the reason all of these are tier 1 is all of these will demonstratively help the Hyperliquid protocol, right? So one of the biggest criticisms that Hyperliquid has is there's not enough validators, blah, blah, blah. Well, the fact that we're sort of staking hype across the board shows that we're contributing to decentralization. And obviously, you know, buying and holding spot and perp activity helps drive revenue for the platform. In tier 2, still helps, but not that big a deal. Staking stables. In a previous video, I put them all together, but after sort of further thought, one of the things that I do remember was this originally was the only way to get points in Hyperliquid in season 1 until they added the extra ability to sort of trade perpetuals and, you know, buy spot or sell spot. So I have sort of deranked this. You can do it, but what I'm going to show you on the HyperEVM side may be a better use of your stable coins. So let's get into it. And let's move into HyperEVM Footprint. Now, there's a ton of apps. There's a bunch of NFT collections. At the end of the day, there are so many grifts on HyperEVM. And this has nothing to do with just HyperEVM, but just pretty much every chain. When they launch a chain, you have these unscrupulous people who show up and they want to max extract. That's literally all they aim to do. So what I've done once again is I'm showing you the 6 projects that I care about. There's one more actually that's kind of overarching. I'll talk about it in a second. But what you really want to focus on is the tier 1 activities here. Most people, when they talk about Hyperliquid, they'll give you 20 sort of websites because all they care about is you using their referral link so that they can make money. They don't care about how well you do. And I would rather you be focused on what is going to help you make the most of your footprint. and I'm going to sort of explain that. But one thing you may be wondering is, wait a second, where did wealthy Hypeo babies go, right? So this is the Milady derivative in the Hyperliquid chain. There was a lot of drama that took place about a month and a half ago, a few weeks after I shot my video. When that was going on, I decided to cut sort of the bag. I took like a 10% loss on my NFT. It was like, I got it for 200 something, sold it for like 180 after the sort of fees and all that stuff. And, you know, I wasn't alone in thinking this. And I told people in our private Discord, and guess what? Wealthy Hypeo babies have gone down significantly. They are now only 83 hype. This was like 200 hype at one point, right? Now, if obviously you want sort of that information as it comes, because I can't make videos all the time, make sure you check out the Web3 Secret Society link down below. And if you want sort of extra coaching guidance support, also book a private call, link down below. But I have effectively cut my wealthy Hypeo baby position, just was not worth it, okay? Now, there is Hyperunit. Now, Hyperunit is going to be the reason that we are going to do some of the things that we do. This is the decentralized asset tokenization for all of finance and is built on Hyperliquid. What they've done is they've created a platform that allows you to deposit either Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, for some reason Fartcoin, into Hyperliquid. And what that does is you can take your tokens from any network, whether it's, you know, the Bitcoin's like native chain, you can take it from Ethereum's chain, or you take it from Solana, and it puts it directly into your Hyperliquid spot balance on the core app, which is so cool, right? So what you can do here is you select, you pick sort of the deposit, it gives you an address to sort of put it into, and you get the option to sort of put it into your wallet. You can see here I've done that a couple of times just to sort of test this out. And there's a strong suspicion that there will be a unit token, and driving volume through this will help you farm that. So it's not just a Hyperliquid token hype that we want to get, which obviously is good, but it's also getting the unit token. Now, you can try this out. Obviously, once you do that, go to your spot balance on Hyperliquid and follow the instructions in the previous video on sort of sending that over to the HyperEVM chain. Makes it very simple. Another way you can do this is through Liinal Money. So Liinal Money is like a sort of delta neutral sort of strategy here. You can see here I put in about $12,000. So far, it's made me 42 bucks in about a week and a half. You know, I'm not trying to make money off this. Obviously I am, but really the goal here is to farm volume through the unit, the sort of unit bridge mechanism. So a couple things, this is highly contested. So over here, you can see 20,300,000 TVL is actually capped currently at 20 million. So you're gonna have to wait for people to withdraw for you to be able to deposit, or for them to increase their caps. When that happens, you can literally go to deposit, and you can deposit from either your perps or your Hyperliquid spot, or now Arbitrum-based BNB or Ethereum. You put in the amount, it has to be a minimum of 500 bucks, maximum of 250,000. And what'll happen is you'll sort of get a strategy. Now you can go and adjust the strategy accordingly. Ideally, I'd want Hype, Sol, Bitcoin, and ETH and Fartcoin only, you know, Fartcoin being a very small percentage. But these both have their TVLs already like maxed out. And all you got to do is adjust the percentages. So when you do that, you get the option to adjust the percentages, and then you're good to go. So obviously I'd want to have Hype as the bigger allocation. You see here at 50%. You know, if I added ETH, it would take from Sol, right? And if I added Fartcoin, it would also take from Sol. But this is a very good platform. It's going to drive volume across the unit, and also it's going to make you money, and you can withdraw whenever you want, right? Very, very easy. In fact, people are hoping that you withdraw, okay? So that's the first of the tier 1 applications, right? I'm not talking about Hyperunit because that's a little different. I think you should try it, but Liinal really sort of gets you most of the volume you're going to do with that. Then we have Felix, which is sort of like an Aave, right? It's another like, you know, borrow lend protocol. They have different products. So you have CDP and vanilla. I'm using both. there's a downside to CDP. What CDP does is basically you deposit collateral and you borrow FEUSD at an interest rate which you choose. So if you were to do this, let's see if I can go ahead and do this right now. Maybe it won't let me because I'm only doing one. Yeah, it won't let me because it has to be a minimum borrow of 1,000. What will happen is you need to be able to recommend an interest rate that does not down here. A lot of you will be, oh, I can get an interest rate of like 5%, fantastic. But the first moment somebody wants an interest rate a little higher than that, it will liquidate you. So in this case, like a bidding war, and if you don't have a high enough interest rate, you will literally come back, your FEUSD will have been paid back, and it would have sold your collateral to do so. This happened to me the first time I used it, so now I put a way higher APR and I'm still monitoring it. But you can deposit both Hype and UBTC, which is what I did. You can see got 0.11 UBTC and 223 Hype, borrowing $5,000 against my Bitcoin, about $2,000 against my Hype. That is CDP. Vanilla is very much the same. However, it has a basic interest rate, much lower as you can see. But the points that you get, from my understanding, the points for CDP are way higher. So I do think you want to try both, because also if Felix does some sort of tokenization, you want to gain that too. Obviously, why else would they have the points? And you're getting the footprint on HyperEVM. For vanilla, I lent out 220 to Hype, and I borrowed $2,000 at an interest rate of 8%. And you're probably wondering, what do you do with all these stable coins that you get, right? Well, if you go down here to USDHL, right? So the USD on Hyperliquid, click on rewards, you can see here that there's a FEUSD USDHL pool, and you can add liquidity to it on HyperSwap, which is actually the next thing we're looking at. So I just started using HyperSwap somewhat recently, and when I say somewhat recently, properly somewhat recently, and all you have to do is go to pools, actually explore, and you want to add liquidity to different pools. And the pool that I mentioned earlier, I'm going to show you right now. It's this one, USDHL FEUSD. So you just go in here, you deposit your liquidity. If you don't have one of these tokens, you just swap to the other. So you might have a lot of FEUSD from Felix, right? And you swap it to USDHL up at the top by clicking on trade and then going to swap and doing it. Now, just make sure before you do that, though, that when you are going to do this, like let's say I'm just trying this out. I'm going to just try this to show you. That's how the pool works. You pick the 0.01% fee rate, highest, best for stable pairs. You want to have a range, and your range should typically be like, 0.99 to 1.01, something tight, because you don't want a DPEG to basically make you lose all of your assets. Bad, right? Like you just want to avoid like a sort of issue with this. So you want to make sure you're good. And then once you do that, you want to you can't do a single unit zap. So if you can continue, you have to use dual token mode. If I go single asset zap, if I actually picked a range, because I didn't do that up here, let me just do that to show you. Let's just try this. So why isn't it letting me? Oh, here, custom range. There we go. So custom range, we'll put 0.99, 1.01, right? We'll hit continue. Single asset zap will not work. So if you are doing that, you'll have to do the manual trade to balance this out. In this case, let's say I got 37 that I want to deposit. I'll put 37 here. I need 15, which tells me that then what does 22 look like? I need 9, that's 31. So 24, that's 34, 25, 35. So 26. So basically I need to trade 11 USDHL for 11 FEUSD, and then I can do an equivalent add, right? So you can open another window and do that. So that's HyperSwap. And this is pretty much the end of the tier 1. If you stop and sort of, that's it, That's fine. Okay. Now, the next three platforms are literally just going to be getting more exposure and also potential other token generation events, right? So Liinal, which is going to help Unit, will have likely a Unit token generation event. Felix is likely to have a Felix token generation event, and HyperSwap is likely to have a HyperSwap token generation event. Every one of these protocols wants to make a token. You already know this, and you already know what I'm going to recommend. If I got to recommend, not financial advice, I will sell every one of the non-hype tokens. So Hyperland is very much the same. All you got to do is supply. So in this case, you supply Hyperliquid. You can supply UBTC, UETH, USDE, SUSDE. Once you've done that, it's actually hard to find what you can borrow. There's really not much available. You can borrow Bitcoin and UETH, but USDE and SUSDE, which is what you really want to get, you have to sort of be sniping to try to get it, much like Liinal, right? One more thing as well. So I just like doing hype on this platform, but you can also do UBTC because it's a lot more stable. Always, when you're doing these platforms, please be safe. For this, whether it's Felix, you just don't want to get liquidated. I don't want to see any of you guys, borrow too much, because I know a lot of people, they just literally cannot help themselves with the greed. Like, I put in 7,800, I borrowed 2,000. I know a lot of people who will just borrow 4,000 or 5,000 and then get liquidated because of some price movement. Just don't be an idiot. Like, please don't be an idiot. You can do the exact same thing as this on HyperFi as well. You can see my health factor is pretty good, 2.24. Deposited $11,000 worth of hype. It's got so much hype, right? This one, you gotta be a little strategic. So here, you can see that I deposited this to get a 3x on the points, right? So that's good. You get 3x points here. And over here, I actually borrowed, where is this? Oh, this changed actually. So this was actually rewarded before, but I have to change that. That's embarrassing. Basically, USDE, I borrowed 4,000. It was getting a 2 or 3x multiplier. So that's why I picked this. It was a lower rate. And then all I did was swap it to USDTO. And then I lent it out for a while. And then I ended up taking it back instead of getting the 5x on the points and just bought more hype on the dip. You can do whatever you want, because literally, like, let's say you do borrow this here at a 4%, right? 4,000. You can put the 4,000 back as USDTO, right? Tether, and you get 5x and 7%. Whereas here you're paying 4% for it. So you're making money off the lending it out, and you're getting like 5 extra points off it too. And also when you do this, it helps your health factor as well, right? Because you $11,000 borrowing 4,000. Okay, the health factor is like 1.7 likely. You put the $4,000 back, it goes up a bunch, right? Because now you have 15,000 of assets versus 4,000 liabilities. Okay, so this is another good platform. Once again, you can check their points every so often. And finally, Volantis. This one is somewhat weak, but I still have it in here. Not that much. I think I got like 100 hype, something like that. Yeah, 100 hype in here. Just staked it. You get interest, and once again, it's just more having exposure. Now, if you're ever curious about what I'm doing, by the way, and you're like, okay, I don't want to join the Web3 Secret Society for whatever reason, you have my wallet address and my bank link down below. Just go to it, click on HyperEVM, and literally just see what I'm doing. It's a snapshot of literally all the things basically that I showed you, with the exception of Liinal, which doesn't add up here, which is nice because it means I got another 11K or 12K that's not counted on here. And obviously, just check it out. You can see all your health factors. So if you're doing this for yourself too, you can monitor this way. You can see if any of the pools are out of range on HyperSwap, which is very important. That's very important to know. And then finally, is there anything else, right? So just go through this constantly. I believe Morpho, so this 222.75 hype. This is actually this position. So that is the vanilla position is going through Morpho. So shout out to Soundbites in the Web3 Secret Society who told me what that was. I knew it was something. I knew it was something that was using a front end, but it's the vanilla borrowing option on Felix, okay? So I hope that helps. I've included my links to the protocols below where it's applicable. Unfortunately, I don't have a referral code for you for Liinal. They only give you 5. I gave them all to the Web3 Secret Society once I maxed my deposit, but I did include other referral links down below to the protocols. Most of the time, we both benefit. So if you found this video helpful, support the channel by using them. I have a bunch of other referral links to protocols that I don't think you should use, so I have not included them, and I don't want you to go there. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys are farming Hyperliquid. I think it's one of the 3 best opportunities you have this year with all the things going on. Don't believe the dumbasses out there who are telling you that Coinbase is going to put Hyperliquid into the ground. These are the same people who told you that the Hyperliquid Vault and all that stuff with Binance is the reason Hyperliquid at $9 or $10 was never going to go back up. And within 8 weeks, we went to 45. So ignore those fools. They never know anything. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for you guys. As always, if you like the video, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I'll see you later. Thanks again for watching.